This video will teach you how to properly wire a starter solenoid for a 2004 Honda CBR 600RR, but it should also be applicable for the 2003 and 2005 models of the same bike. If you're here, like me, you've probably spent several hours digging through the internet trying to find a wiring diagram with the pinouts for this connector right here and couldn't find it. I bought this bike used. The previous owner seems to have installed the wrong solenoid. This looks like a larger solenoid for a bigger bike, probably like a Honda Shadow or something like that. The configuration is about the same. The problem is that they deleted the factory harness connector and replaced it with blade terminals. And when I was doing maintenance, I couldn't figure out what went where. Anyway, without further ado, the correct part, this one I bought off of Amazon, has 6 connectors on it. You've got 2 large ones marked with a M. This is going to go to the motor inside the body of the bike, and a B. This is going to go to the positive terminal on your battery. For the 4 small ones, from 1, 2, 3, and 4, the first pin is going to go to your green wire with a red stripe. The second is going to go to your yellow wire with a red stripe, and the fourth is going to go to your solid red wire. Now, the function of this circuit is the red wire is supplied 12 volts from these 2 pins here. They're actually, if you look closely, you can see one piece of metal there. That's fed through this 30 amp fuse here. That 12 volts goes to your ignition cylinder. When in the on position, it will be supplying voltage to your starter switch, which will in turn feed a control voltage back through the yellow wire with a red stripe into pin number 2. That's going to actuate your starter solenoid as long as there's continuity to ground through your green wire with a red stripe on pin number 1. When that circuit's completed, by the way, that feeds through several other components, notably your bank angle sensor and a fuse box, which is located under the gas tank in a little hidden compartment about half the size of my fist with a rubber boot around it. When you've got continuity to ground, your control voltage will actuate the solenoid, which in turn will allow direct current from the battery to go through this large wire and kick your starter over. So if you've tried, like I did, messing with different configurations of these, and there's a couple dozen different possible configurations of 3 wires on 4 pins, you may have caused some additional problems. Don't worry, they're not major problems. You've got 2 fuses. Again, you've got this 30 amp fuse, and there's a 10 amp fuse inside of that fuse box on the 2004. I believe on the later models, the fuse box would have been located right around here, but on the 04 and probably the 03 as well, it's hidden under the fuel tank. There'll be a 10 amp fuse in there marked for the bank angle sensor. That's protecting the other components in the system. So make sure those 2 fuses are good if you've correctly wired your starter solenoid and you're still stuck with a no crank, no start condition. As long as you've got your 3 wires in place and those 2 fuses are correct and no other faults are in the system, you should be able to turn your ignition to the on position and press your starter switch, and your bike should fire right over. Here's the factory wiring diagram that shows you the colors of the wires and the components in the circuit. You will note, unfortunately, that it doesn't, again, include the pinouts. However, if anyone is trying to troubleshoot other downstream components in the system and they've already verified that their starter solenoid and fuses and wiring are good, this might be helpful in diagnosing a no crank, no start condition. Finally, if all else fails, check out the Honda CBR 600RR forums, as there's a number of posts on those forums diagnosing the specific issue with help from experts in motorbike repair.